Alright guys, we're gonna start now one time. Good afternoon to Josan and Sima. Thank you guys for being on short notice. Today what I want to do is I'm gonna teach you guys about Microsoft Excel. Now, teaching you guys about Microsoft Excel in this aspect, and I just go into the very basics. I don't want to do the functions and stuff like that right now. Probably will extend it to another thing because this class is only probably for half an hour. Right? So I'm just gonna go through the basic steps of the spreadsheet software, and perhaps I could record another video and do one with Google Sheets, right? So we'll be on to that. That's one. Nice. So I'm about to share my screen with you all, and you'll let me know if you're seeing it. Right, so I should be sharing my screen with you all right now. You should be able to see it. I'm not sure. Just let me know. Yeah, you're seeing it?
Yeah, I'm seeing the Google Sheet then.
Yeah, this is Microsoft Excel. We're in currently, this is the 2019 version. So all versions of Excel within the years from 2010 on come up might be a little different depending, but all of them would have the similar layout as you would see here, right? As when we did Microsoft Word, the home tab or the home ribbon would be here as well. That would be, as you open up the document, you would see this, right? And the best thing about it is that it's very similar to all the layouts of Microsoft Office, right? All the sections. This will be a font section right here, right? This is the clipboard section that you know from Microsoft Word and you know from Excel, right? The font here too, to adjust the font size, everything like that. You have your alignment here as well for indentation and stuff like that, but usually when you're doing spreadsheets, you don't really use that more or less. You hardly use it, I find. All right, this is numbers, right? Adding your percentages and all these little things. There's different styles and format as a table, cell style, all these things you could add on. This is the format, the cells, how you want to lay it out, how you want to insert. Like, let me say you're doing a chart and you have a few options here and you want to add in some, you can add in as such. Very easy to do. Um, this is the editing center, right? So this section here is just to edit, to clear, to find and select certain words, certain sums, and stuff like that, right? Very easy to know about it later, it's very easy to understand how it is, right? But some people get a lot of problems with Excel in terms of how they're actually laying out the document, how they're actually going to enter a heading and then go forward, if they should enter it here or should they rename this or what they should do. Right, so I'll teach you about that in a bit. I'm just going to go through the rest of the ribbons as well. All right, so if you click insert, you would see a whole new listing of stuff. Some things you may see from Microsoft Word as well, and some things you may have not seen in Microsoft Word. All right, so this is the pivot table, right? This is the envy tables and stuff like that. If you want to add tables, just add illustration, pictures. Maybe you want to create a logo for your company or something like that. Awesome. If you want to create a logo for your company or add it in, say create the address and everything like that, have no issues at all. This is the add-in add-ins, right? So with Microsoft Excel as well as Microsoft Word, there are certain add-ins that you could get. You could go online and download. You could go and look for them online. You got different ones you could install for different purposes. I believe there's also adding to merge with P3 accounting, right? Um, don't know if you guys ever use that, but there's a whole other story, right? This is the charts that you could choose, that different type of charts you could choose in Excel to create different graphs and different things like that. Now, so one thing to note with Microsoft Excel that a lot of people don't know is that it can merge with Access and it could also do a merger with Word, right? As well as a few other options as well. But let me say you create a database in Access, you can actually merge that database and throw it onto Excel to create something to print out or create a different type of sheet, right? A lot of companies use this, but due to the fact of how modern technology is now, it have like software just built in to do it one time for you in that sense. So we'll touch on that later on as well. But that's more advanced. That's like if you're gonna do accounting and stuff like that. That's the marketing, right? This is the 3D maps. If you want to add in a 3D maps, the spark lines, right? So if you want to add in a spark line, like a line column, win loss, you know, is like a little example of that. It had different filters here too for your slicer and timeline. Right? You can add in links to certain information that you insert. Oh, that's not. I see this thing right there. But you can add in certain text as well. Right? So if you usually click it, you can add in Word art. And this is stuff that you would have already seen in Microsoft Word from last time. Signature line, object, text box, and header and footer as well. Right? Now the symbols, you could add in different equations or different symbols that you may want to do that. But that would fall more under formulas later on when we reach that section. Right? So the next ribbon we're gonna briefly touch on is called page layouts. Right? When you click page layout, it would have something very similar to Microsoft Word one. I think this one is about the same, almost the same thing. Right? So you can add in different themes. Hello? Somebody talking? Oh, okay, good. Yeah. So you can add in different themes, color, fonts, effects to your theme, right? To add it into that. You can set up your page setup, right? So you can add in the proper margins that you may need to format your document. You can add in the orientation size. So if you want to go portrait or landscape, you can do that with this as well, right? You can alter the size of the document you're typing currently, if it's a legal statement or whatever, but a lot of places just stick to the norm, right? The print area of what you want to print, the breaks, the background, the print titles, right? You can scale to fit for different sizes as well. If you have a custom size paper or custom size layouts that your company may use, you may use this. You click on sheet options to get different headings and grid lines. Right? The arrangements is just to bring forward, send backward of different sections because you can add various sheets to this, right? So it doesn't have to be one sheet alone. You can add about 5, 6 sheets. So currently, if you look underneath here, we are in sheet one. If I add this, we have 2 sheets now. So we can go back and forth. So if I have a small company with profit and loss for the month, I can add in certain expenses here that fall under assets, and I can add in certain expenses here that fall under, I don't know, bills, inventory, whatever they want to add in. So you can make it up differently, but most persons what they do in a spreadsheet is just be a simple spreadsheet you might make to create a form, right? But nowadays people use something called Google Forms to create their own sheets, online sheets. But back in the days, they would use this to create the donation sheets and put in proper tables. A lot of people just skip this whole Excel process and go straight into Microsoft Word and create their own tables and donation sheets and stuff like that. But a lot of people prefer to use Excel. It's really cool to use, right? When we click into formulas ribbon, right, we have other ribbons here too as well we'll go through. This is the most complicated part of Excel for some people, right? To insert a function to do an Autosum. So like, all right, let me say you're an accountant and you're dealing with equations all day. You don't want to be typing 1 + 1 = 2 and all these things. I have to go and type in the answer. Autosum and all enter in certain equations to your formula on Excel would automatically calculate the total profit and loss, calculate certain things once you input it. And this is one of the things that a lot of people get confused with or get complicated by, right? Because sometimes it doesn't add up, or sometimes when you type it, even though you already program it to do addition and subtraction or whatever you want that program it to, it doesn't do it. So usually it's have some error along the lines here to go and look back to it, right? If you're going to recently use, if it's something you normally use, you're going to financial, you would find a lot of lists of, let me just click it and show you, right? You would find a list of different things that you could use to use the equations. Logical as well, or you could insert your own function, right? So there's certain things or certain commands you could push in to have it just do it automatically in that sense. You can add in your data time, look up reference, doesn't matter, geometry, trigonometry, right? So you could add in all these little functions and stuff like that. And then have a list of our more functions for engineering and stuff like that, web design and all these other things. Right? You don't have to worry about this right now. This is very advanced. All right, we're going to define names. This is like name manager. Right? You don't really have to worry about this right now because hardly people would use this. But you could create a list of persons that you want to refer to, scope the comment, you can add in the value of. All right, so what I used this for before was when I was helping a certain accountant friend create a new listing now. So he actually uses just to create a listing and create a nice section for them within the spreadsheet. Because he had profit and loss for various businesses, everybody file under the same name now. So different size have different different things. So you don't really have to worry about this right now. This is formula auditing. There's have a lot of things to check errors, evaluate the formulas, remove errors, dependents, watch the window, all these things. A calculation options, a calculating sheet, and I calculate now is to calculate the equations that you entered into the spreadsheet. Right? You click the data ribbon, and you're gonna see a whole lot of other stuff here now. Right? You get external data, and this is how you import your data from various applications. So you can import your data or database from Access and throw it onto the sheet. You can import it from web if you have a web-based design or whatever you have. You can import it from whatever text you may have, and you just want to bring it in from a Word document or whatever, and you can import it from another source. Right? Hold on, I think we're in forward. I'm looking like green forward. Sorry about that. Okay. So you can click existing connections if you already have something tied in right from access, and you want to add in another database. So it's very easy to use in that regard, but it gets a lot of complications down the line when you're trying to do the advancement or finish up a certain document. A lot of people get a lot of issues with it. Right? Get and transform. This is to get queries from tables, or you want to create a new query from database from all these services that you may have or may not use. Right? So you could get it from a workbook, you could get it from database itself. Right? It's kind of complicated, but if you do like a specialist course on it, it would be a lot more informative. But if you are going to do a specialist course in Excel, I suggest you just do it for the whole Office programming itself. So they will teach you how to bring in a database from Access, bring in a database or Word document from Word, bring in from outside, bring in from the web, all these things. Right? It also has a lot of packages now that trying to rival this, but unfortunately, online there's nothing to replace Microsoft Access. Right? It hardly has anything that could replace it properly or have the same type of layout as that. I believe Google trying to work on something, but it hasn't been done yet. This is just the connections. This is sort and filter if you want to filter out any information. This is data tools. All this has to do with data. So data connections and refresh and all these things. If you make any edits and it hasn't gone in and equations, all these things. Right? This is data tools here. So you have various data tools. You can manage a data model. You could flash fill, you can remove duplicates, all these little things. Right? Forecast is all right, you enter a certain information and like a profit and loss sheet for the next 2-3 years, and you want to create a graph on that. You can actually use forecast to show how the profit and loss would go depending on the information you input per month and per day. Right? Outline would just be outline various groups that you may create in the tool. Right? When you click review, it will be very similar to Microsoft Word. Right? You will have the normal spelling, proofing that you may need to check over, accessibility, insights to look up certain things, translate if you need to translate it to another language or need to translate from another language that you may download online or get from Access from another country. Right? You can add in comments to the document, to the work, to whatever it is that you're trying to do. Right? You can protect the workbook. A lot of accountants like to use the software as well to do certain things, but it uses to protect it, adding your own password. So when they open it, they'll have to add in their own password and hiding is hiding as well. Right? So when you click view, you could change the way you view the whole document. You could change the way you lay out the whole document in that regard. Right? So you click that, it'll have a page break preview. Add in the page layout to change the different things. You can click a custom view and add in your own viewings. But usually everyone will just click normal and use it as normal. So you don't really get anything like that. Or if anybody joining, everybody came in after, this meeting is being recorded, so I can upload it to YouTube. You guys can watch it after, all these things. So you have no worries. All right. This is the grid lines. to show different formula bar if you don't want it to show, if you don't want it to show, you take off the headings, you can take off the grid lines, right? To make it like a normal, however you might think it easier for you in that regard. Right? This is the zoom section if you want to zoom in on your documents or anything like that. I don't know, people don't really use that unless they really can't see too good. You know, and you may need to zoom in a little bit. Right? This is the window option. Something just happened. I don't know. Chat. Good everyone. Oh, good afternoon, Cindy. Don't worry yourself. This will also be on YouTube as well, so you could always look back if you missed anything. Right? So in window, you can add in a new window. If you want to add in a new window, you can arrange all, you can freeze planes, you can split, you can hide, you can do various things with these documents. You can switch windows as well, and have various macros that you can do. Right? Help us help. Tell me what you want to do is tell me what you want to do. If you have any issues and you don't know what's going on or you don't know how to do a certain command, you can just type it in here and this should be able to assist you in do that. You can share documents from here as always. You can save from on top here. And there's always the undo and redo in case you make a mistake or if you did something wrong and you deleted it, you could always redo it and add it back in if you did it correctly. Right? Down here we'll have the sheets, so you can always add a new sheet. Right? So go by sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. Right? You could always move them around as well. So you won't have no issues there. This is just a scroll across. Right? Right, cool. Right. So apart from the zoom in and stuff like that, you will have your actual layout of the spreadsheet. Now, the layout of the spreadsheet will be as follows. Right? You will have different fields and different bars connected to different rows and different columns. Right? So this is A1. Right? You will call this A1 on the sheet. And you will type in whatever heading you want to type in. Right? So let's go say you're making a normal graph. You type in that as a heading. You would add in the proper peripherals to create it like that. You would add in the proper peripherals to create it like that. You could also change the width of the layout of the column that you want to do. Right? So it's not really difficult to do. In case you want to, let me say add. So how it layout here is how we're going to be printed out. So a lot of persons, if they have a company or something like that, a lot of places they have a company or something like that, they would actually use the middle page, right, the middle layout to create the heading. Right? So this area, they would use this to create the heading, and then they would go forth and add in the information that they want. So sometimes you may have to visualize it of how we want it to look, but basically it would be something like this. They would use this area for the heading and add in the work address and everything like that if they're creating a form or a document. Once they add it in, they scroll along and they create the columns. So we'll have the columns of the information and you go further and further. But you could always just keep going down until how much you want to do. But usually a page layout itself, they will tell you. Right? So that's if you want to do something like that. Right? What I'm trying to compare this to actually is, let me show you what I'm trying to compare this to when I was talking about the P3 accounting. Okay, I can't do that. All right, whatever. P3. Start with the points, I go share. Alright, nice one. So let me share this. Keep giving me some trouble. Alright, let's give him some trouble. I will stop sharing this. Alright, well, that's true. Right, so this is called P3 accounting. This is the software that a lot of accountants use. This is 2010 one. A lot of people prefer the 2010 one because it has a lot more features and is a lot more responsive than the 2017 and 2020. As the 2021 was given a lot of issues to this. Right? So this is basically how it will lay out. But let me say you create your own, what I would say. Let's say you create your own employees and payroll, right? And you didn't use it by using this. You could actually take this document or take all the information that is found in this program and transfer it onto Excel. And when you transfer it onto Excel, you can actually print it out from there. You can customize it how you need it to customize, and you can utilize it however you need to utilize. Right? This is just a business layout that they give me for customer and sales for my company for what I'm doing. But that is how you can do it. You can add in the employees and payroll, you can add in inventory and services because it's easier to do it via this. Right? And when you print it out and you open it up on the sheet after you fill out all this information, you take it and throw it onto Excel. You throw it onto Excel, you can make any edits that you want to do, or you can create any formulas that you want to create for profit and loss margin and stuff like that. Even though this could do it, sometimes it does give some issues. So people prefer to just throw it onto Excel, print it out to give to whoever they want to give it to, the customer, the client, whoever. But this is a lot more technical in that aspect, so I just touch on it very briefly. But this is basically how P3 account looks. All the additions will come basically like this. It will look the same thing. Right, so let me just come off from this and give me 1 second so I can switch back to Excel. Right, so back in Excel now, and I just want to do a quick general adding that. So right, so put the company name there basically and have it set out. So they put the company name there basically and have it set out, and then underneath here you can add any address or whatever, you can add it into the same line on top here as you would add. And then from underneath here they would add certain sections or certain things they would add. So let me say you want to name something, your bullets from here as well. Make sure it's legible persons to see. And you type in books. So, right, so type in books sold. And you make sure the layout is proper that people would be able to see it in that regard. Right? So usually you may have to change up how the columns are laid out and how the column sizes are in that regard. But from here now, when you create an average of bullet as well, and change the font to what you want it to be. Right? Right? And you try and create your own little spreadsheet. Right? So when you create your own little spreadsheet, you would come down here and you would add in something like May, June, July, whatever day, the first, second, third, and you can add in the numbers sold and the numbers on hand at that point in time. Once you go down straight to the end of the month until you reach 30 or whatever, you can now enter certain equations. Now when you enter those equations, you'll be able to add, subtract automatically of how many books, how many sold in that regard. Just to make kind of sense. It will be easier to do profit and loss or whatever, but there's a whole lot of fields you may have to enter going up, or you can enter it going down as well, depending on how you want to lay it out or how you want to use it. Right? It's very easy to do, but Excel is challenging for a lot of people. It was challenging to me too when I first started it with CXC. A lot of people nowadays hardly just use Excel. They might use something as simple as, I forget this application online, but it does everything for you automatically, the application online. It's not like where here you would have to enter certain formulas and certain equations to create it. Right? They just enter, you want to add this, yeah, they'll add it for you. You want to subtract this, they'll subtract it for you in that regard. Right? So that is a brief touch on Excel. It doesn't really make sense to go further with that because I'll have to go and teach equations and teach all these things. And it's just a basic class knowing about the layout and knowing how to create a new spreadsheet. Right? So The one thing that I didn't really touch on was when you go on file and you click file ribbon, right? You would see various things they will tell you about, right? To create a nutrition tracker, a recipe nutrition tracker, calculator, a periodic table, right? All these little things you could help create by using Excel. So let's say we want to do a nutrition tracker, right? You'll download the templates, and that's template it basically to create your food diary, to create your nutrition goals, and all this type of stuff that you're seeing here currently is what you're able to do when you professionally know how to use it, right? So that it will welcome tab, and you can actually use it to click various items. You can add in different things to send it to another sheet. Right? So once you click that, it will automatically send it to another sheet where you can add in all your information about calories and stuff like that. Right? You could also use this whole layout that you're currently seeing here and throw it on the web to create an actual website in that regard. So that's another reason a lot of people like to use this too. You create the data and use all this information and add it in, and you can actually upload it to HTML documents or HTML site and create the actual website in that regard. It's fun to use, but kind of technical on certain things and certain instances when you're trying to input data. Right? Go back to file. I'll put this in, it'll be easier to explain. Most of them are just showing you like college listings and stuff like that. Right? But we need to figure out. Right, so this one we use the chemistry. And all right, so you would see on the certain elements here, they would have a certain name such. I'm not on a protected sheet, sorry. All right, so the certain name thing underneath here would have certain things happening to create various variables to have it showing up like this. So that's how you have to basically program it in that regard. So let me say we hit elements, we're going to the element value. We would see certain things here and the values and stuff like that, or atomic symbols and all these things. They enter the value into the game, you enter the information prior to this, and it would show up like this, right? Until it actually published that page. When it published that page, it would show up as a different thing. Right? So when it published the actual page, it would show up like a normal periodic table, and it would have all the information listed here. Right? Quiz, yeah, you can use Excel to create various quizzes and various forms. Right? So a lot of persons, a lot of teachers actually like to use Excel to create tests and stuff like that. But with online learning, it don't really make sense to do that because you can just use Google Forms. Just type in Google Forms, go on Google Forms, create your own multiple choice test or any type of test you want to create for your students, publish it, send it out to them via email. You create your own answer key. So as they finish, you get they send it back to you, it's automatically answered, done, they get the results. They have no issues. But the easier thing to do, like when teachers were in school, they would just jump onto this if they didn't know any websites and they want to create their own exam, or they don't want to use Microsoft Word and want to create a more, what you would call elegant, quote unquote elegant for Excel, they would do something like this to create it like that. This person, well, this template basically is just to create and publish their own type of website, because from the welcome tab here, you'll just see this crazy little thing here, and you can just click anything you like by adding the buttons underneath. Once you click it, it would carry it to the other sheet, and it would load in like that. So it's not really difficult to learn in that regard, but there's some challenges when you're trying to actually do functions. Right? Do you guys use Excel at all? Does anybody use Excel? Or have experience using Excel? All right. I take it that you guys will use Excel. How do you use Excel? Right? So if you are in teaching, or if you are accountants, or you just want to create various forms and stuff like that, I wouldn't really recommend Excel in that regard, because there's a lot better software out there right now than just using Excel. Maybe students, a lot of students like to use Excel because the IT teacher or whatever teacher that they do have tell them to create an Excel sheet in that regard would just use it to create a flyer or a document. But now it actually has Microsoft Publisher. Long time used to just have the basics of it, and it never used to be that intensive to use or that featuristic in that sense. Have a lot of features, but now Publisher has a lot of ways that you can create your own flyer as well as Word. Because what happened for my SPA for CXC, my teacher wanted us to create a flyer with Excel. I just went on Word and created a normal flyer and imported to Excel. That was it. It was very easy to do. Because when you're trying to do it with Excel, you're always getting humbugged by the various cells to add in, like all these things here. To add in certain information and certain parts, and then to adjust it to suit, because you'll have to adjust each column. You'll have to adjust each tab down here, and you usually have a lot of issues with that. So if you're just trying to do like a normal sheet, just use Word and create whatever create. If you're an accountant and you really do have to use Excel, but I do really recommend using Excel and all like that. A lot of companies will make you use Excel just to type in and do data entry and stuff like that, but that is like a quote unquote free thing in that regard. Like I believe Facades using Excel still instead of using P3 accounting to the software accounting that they usually do. And Excel is more free in that regard because P3 accounting you do have to pay for. There is a fee for that. I know there is a fee for Excel, but it's a lot cheaper than using P3 accounting. So that's why they rather than use this. And at the end of the day, when you finish do everything, it's just get annoying when you have to go back and look for error. Right? So you think of it like you're doing a program or you're programming. Right? Once your errors don't match up, none of your things work out like a balance sheet or like when you're doing a balance sheet in accounting. If nothing is working out, you have to go back and go through every single detail until you find the proper format or you did it the proper way. Right? So that was just a little touch on Microsoft Excel. I want to show you guys this real quick before I do anything else. Just give me a moment. Wait, I have other things open here. Right. All right, so I'm going to share my screen with you guys and I'm going to show you guys this. Right, so this is Microsoft Access, right? You choose to create, well, as you open it, you would have this page meeting, right? You can choose to create a blank database. You could do asset tracking, contacts. You could create a form for students, events management, task management. This is Access, and this is something that a lot of people get frustrated with, right? So Access is all about data entry, right? Nothing else, nothing more. You can create different sections, different lines to add to different things, right? So you have your ID section, you can add a new thing, you can add a number, you can add whatever you want to add in that regard, and you complete it up like a database, and you add new lines, you add new sections, and stuff like that. This is, a lot of people like to use this for creating employee sheets, right? You create the employee sheet, you create how much days that they work for, you create how much that they work for per hour, and you calculate the value at the end of the day, at the end of the week, or at the end of the month, of how much you're taking, right? Database, I find this one of the most complicated things Microsoft ever created, right? But if you go into external data, you will see that you can import from Excel or you can send it to Excel in that regard. And you can do word merger as well. So if you create, all right, so just like on your link, it says here office links, specify a table or query as the data source, right? So let me say you're in Word and you create a small presentation and you want to throw in a graph, you can do that from here. You can take your graph and source it from the information from this. So let me say you have the information of the profit and loss, or let me say you have the information of the, what would be easy way, your employees. Right, you have the information of the employees' wages throughout January to February to show who did the most work and get the most wages because it was working for hourly rate. All that information from Access will be translated into a graph on to Excel or Word, depending on whatever you want to use. And that graph now, you can take that and put it straight into PowerPoint to create a PowerPoint presentation. So that's how technical it is, but that's how good everything is to work together in that regard, in that ecosystem, that office ecosystem, as I would say, right? So you can add in PDFs, you can export it, you can do all these little things to get your information. Sorry about it. Right? So on home, it has different view layouts that you can do, or you can design your own view. Right? It have different filters that you can hit on. It has different records you could use. It has different ways to find certain items that you may use, because this is something that all the offices have. You can find a word, you can find a keyword, you can find a key number and change it, replace it, look it up, see how much time it's there, certain things like that. Then you have text formatting, which is always there, the indentation and all these things. I don't know why hardly people use indentation in Access, but it is. Click create, you click create, you can create application paths, you can create different templates and different tables. You can create, it have a query wizard here as well. You can create the various queries, you can create a form design for whatever you want to do. You can create a report, right? And there's something that they made us do from SPS too. And in SPCS, macros and code, you can do the various coding. Right? So you can enter coding to do certain things, or programming to do certain things. Right? Database tools, you can add in relationships from different fields. So if you had expenses somewhere here, you have employee names over here, you can attach the employee's expenses, like in so whatever that they pay, right? So I'm sure it don't take care of the NAD for the overall total income that they can and add it in as a relationship towards the field in that regard. Right? This database documenter is to analyze certain situations or certain things. Right? You can move data around however you want to share it. Right? Help is help. Fields is another thing that will be here. So you can add in certain equations, certain formats. Right? You can add in name and caption, you can add in the currency that you're currently using to add into this. Or if you want to pay someone in US, you can add in it using US and then you can convert it down in the engine to TT. If you want table, you have a lot of options for your tables. Right? The same relationship stuff I was showing you about before. I find Access is one of the most difficult things to use in that regard, but like if I teach an advanced class in that sense, I would do something simple with you. Let you create a fake company, name it whatever you want, a pet supply company or whatever. Make it go on Excel and add in the inventory and stuff like that for a month's worth of inventory with prices and stuff. Come on Access, put in the employee information and join everything together to create a presentation for PowerPoint. Right?